The National Student Survey has continued to show that students are least satisfied in higher education with their experience of assessment and feedback. We've got to do assessment and feedback quite differently if we're going to get out of the mess we're in now.
We're finding that because A-levels are more interactive between students and teachers, actually students are kind of craving the opportunity to be more interactive with their academics.
What they really want to do is to get into a discussion, I mean, ideally with their tutor, but also with their colleagues, people who may have done the course in previous years, so that they can ask the questions that help them understand what's expected of them. And as university numbers of students have gone up over many years, achieving that level of personal feedback has just got more and more difficult. Hopefully technology's got a few answers for that.
I think there are many examples of practice where we're overlaying now on top of multiple choice and objective testing. So for instance, seeing students' blogs, seeing how students reflect on their practice, seeing how students collaborate through, for instance, a wiki.
That wider range of assessment is about making that communication process work better, overcoming some of the issues of ratios of numbers, so time constraints, or making it more immediate, or helping people communicate over distances, all the benefits that technology gives us generally.
It's about using technology either for people writing questions at the beginning or setting problems, to the students setting them, getting feedback, to the lecturers and administrators evaluating that and using those marks to move forward or that information to move forward. And it's not just about using technology in all of those phases, it's about any one of them. And so one of the things ourselves and other people are trying to do is try and break out people's imagination.
Technology is helping us with peer assessment in terms of being able to collect students' responses through the peer assessment process. What's particularly important is that we tell our students why we are engaging in peer assessment and the learning potential that it brings to them.
Peer assessment is a really good way of students getting that kind of personalised environment without necessarily having that one-to-one contact with the tutor.
There's no better way of deepening your learning to actually get your head around the assessment culture than by trying to devise and apply criteria to other people's work.
Being able to talk to anybody about their approach and their experience is valuable, but it's the computer providing the link between two people and acting as a mediator of assessment.
I think that in order to give more effective feedback using technology requires a step change in the development of the academic staff, that they're going to have to get used to new ways of working.
Feedback for a start has to be a lot quicker than it is now. Students, where possible, need feedback within 24 hours while they still remember what they were doing. And there are ways of doing this, and technology can help in doing some of this as well.
The immediacy of the feedback is critical. The student progress is being tested very frequently online, and they can target the content of the lectures to where the students are finding difficulty. So it becomes then a much more efficient use of staff face-to-face time.
I think technology can make a huge impact. I think there's some really innovative, good practice going on out there. I mean, using podcasts and video casts and things. Not only does it make it quicker for tutors to give more personalised feedback to students, but also they can just pick it up in an email or log on to their virtual learning environment and have that kind of instant access to their feedback.
We're beginning to see student assessment management, that's to say institutional systems which begin to gather information about assessment and use it in a more creative way for quality assurance purposes.
You need actually people to work as a team. The academic to provide the pedagogy and the design, and they need to work closely with technologists, if you like, to realise their pedagogic design.
There are other types of technology. For example, we've seen with the growth of electronic submission of work and plagiarism testing and so on, where you need a more institution-wide approach, and it isn't realistic for an individual lecturer to make a great deal of progress on their own without the backing of their institution.
I think technology has a huge part to play. Probably the most important thing, though, is what we know about validity, reliability, transparency, authenticity of assessment. We've still got to make it work. We've still got to make it uphold all of those values, but use the new tools appropriately.
One thing I always say to people is use it where it helps you and your students. And if it doesn't, don't bother. Don't say I'm going to use technology in assessment. Say I want to assess this thing, or I want to give more feedback, or I want to, and then choose the right tool.
We're certainly interested in educational effectiveness and resource efficiency, and I think we are doing our staff a disservice if we're just overloading them with extra work.
Anything that will reduce the time that staff spend on assessment-related activities but improve the quality and relevance will actually be welcomed by staff and certainly be welcomed by students.